Testing 1, 2. I think we're back. No, this is not sponsored by Arteza. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Christina Lee Meditation AU. My name is Christina Lee, and I wanted to give you guys a tutorial on this piece that I'm doing. It's basically for the holiday season of 2021. We did one last year with a different set of paints, and I wanted to do something similar this year. The size of the canvas this is a 12 by 12. You can use regular canvas. This one is a wood board I got at Michael's. And also the stencil is a 24 segment stencil I got on Amazon. I will link that in the description of this video in case if you don't have one or if you're just kind of curious about that. And then also the tools that I'm using two different sets. One is from the Dotting Center that I am linking also in the description of this video along with a coupon code. So you can get an extra 10% off if you use that coupon code. And then also a ball stylus set that I personally have manufactured. I have a really hard time keeping these in stock. I will put a link to in the description. If I have them available, then you can purchase them. Otherwise, I mean, honestly, any ball stylus set will work. But anyways, I wanted to kind of talk big picture stuff. The Arteza paints that I'm using, they're all heavy body paints. So that means you're going to need to use a pouring medium to thin those out. And my ratio I use, it's roughly around 50-50. So half of your paint's going to be the actual pigment from Arteza, and then the other half is going to be a pouring medium, like Liquitex is a really nice pouring medium, or I personally use Floetrol most of the time. You can find it on Amazon. I think you can also get it at like Home Depot, and it's really a lot cheaper. But especially if you're using a lot of Arteza paints, you're going to be using a lot of Floetrol, so getting a big bottle of that if you paint a lot might be totally worth it. So anyway, I'm digressing. The video quality of this, I feel like 90% of the time it's really great, and then sometimes when I really get to going on painting, I forget to check to see if my camera is in focus, so I'm really sorry. There's probably about 5 minutes of video in this tutorial where the video is out of focus, so I'm terribly sorry about that. We are using a total of 8 different colors. The cool thing about the Arteza metallic set, I would say like 95% of the colors, they all go together. So if you get the set, you can mix and match, and most of the time you're going to get a beautiful color palette. There's a couple at like the banana, the amethyst, I guess the ocean blue, and I think the Arctic blue. I have to double check that one. I don't think those come in the set, so I lied. But I'll link everything, all the colors and stuff in the description too, so you can check those out. And if you follow me on Facebook, especially in the Facebook group, I am running for this year 2021, for this time of the season, we are doing kind of a, it's like a challenge where we are making our own ornaments. And so a lot of people are using the same color palette, and we're all kind of making our own ornament collection set. And so this is part of it. So what I'm doing is I took 8 colors total from the Arteza collection, and then I'm using it in the big piece, this 12 by 12 here. I will take 3 or 4 of those colors and make one of the smaller mandalas. So I made 45 total. They're all different, they all look different, and when you pick out the different colors, they all just have a different feeling. It's really cool, and they all go together, so that's awesome. So I am putting the size of the tools that I'm using between the Dotting Center tools and my ball stylus. You may not have the ball stylus, and that's okay. I tend to stick with My favorite ones are the largest, the medium, and the small. And if you have an extra small, like a 0.5 or a 0.7, I tend to use those the most. Everything else, I feel like it's not really necessary, but some people have their favorites. Those are just my favorites, so those are the ones I tend to use more. But I do number my ball stylus, and so that's the numbers that you see on there. And I can also, in the description, I'll note which size the ball tip is in case you don't have the set. You can kind of get close. But I feel like this piece is more about kind of paying attention to the size of the space that you want to fill up. And the Arteza paint is so cool. You can make your dots like really big, expand them as much as you need. And the paint is really forgiving. It will stay put where you want it to be. And then you can get your dots pretty close around it. I love it. It's awesome. And you just pile the paint on. Make sure the big dots have this dome shape to it. Your paint consistency should be that where your paint's not going to go anywhere, and that the peak that is in the middle of that dome shape, it kind of levels and flattens out, sort of disappears. Here I'm just filling all those caps in. I don't know why I feel this one just felt really necessary to fill all those in. Here's a space where I forgot to record, so some dots magically appeared there. But I feel like it's kind of a little self-explanatory. I wanted to take a moment right now and thank my supporters on Patreon. Without you guys, I don't think I'd be able to bring you this content. It's a lot of work for me, and I mean, YouTube doesn't really pay much unless you have a lot of subscribers and a lot of views. So it's really helpful to have support on Patreon. So if you are interested in checking that out, I will also put a link in the description of this video, and there's also some really great exclusive rewards for that too. So as we're working the way out here, I just want to mention I'm using the same tool, but you notice that I can create different size dots with this depending on how much I load the paint up on that dotting tool. I can even redot that same dot with the ball stylus. It will make the dot bigger. I like to use the ball stylus with the Arteza because it automatically creates a dome shape. With the flat stylus, like the dotting tools, typically they're flat, and so you have to kind of scoop more paint onto the dot. It's fine for the larger dots. I feel like for the smaller ones, the ball stylus make it so much easier. And here's another thing that I learned is when you're walking dots, especially if you're starting out with a really large dot, I can only go about 3 or 4 dots before the tool either loses too much paint or the dots start looking a little bit egg-shaped. So it's okay to go as far as you can and then come back in with the smaller tool and walk those all the way to wherever you're going. can see a little cone there on the left side of the screen. I just recently took a class with Leona Hota. She has an online dot art school, and she had a class on using cones. And I'm finding it's a really nice tool to have, especially when dotting a lot of those little dots around the bigger dots. It's really convenient because it doesn't take as long. It takes practice. I'm still practicing. I'm not perfect at it, but I feel like it's a tool that I can carry with me in my dotting practice. I love coming up with different ways of dotting. Here, it's showing you right here. And the Arteza paint, you want it a little bit on the thicker side, and you don't want to put too much paint down. And I probably could give it a little bit more space when placing the dots down with the cone, because they do have a tendency, like when they're really when they're applied with the cone, they have a tendency to want to spread just a little bit more than if it was applied with the dotting tool. So and plus sometimes I can get a little sloppy. But I think I was using this cone on a live, and sometimes I feel like I have to be in a hurry in a live. And so, yeah, I just need to slow down. But it's really fun to use. I got a lot of practice in with this piece. And the neat thing is, like, I messed up a lot of dots with the cone. And then once everything is said and done, and the mandala is done, you can't even tell. That's what I love about mandalas. You can do so many mistakes and you can't tell. But now that I told you about it, you can see it. I think this was a fun one to paint, especially with the bigger dots. I feel like the bigger dots go faster, and it's really satisfying to be able to, create something like in a shorter amount of time. Like I have mandalas that I've been working on for like a month or something, and sometimes I lose steam and then I have to put them away for a while, but if you want to bust out a mandala in a couple of days, that's really, beautiful and satisfying. Like, especially the Arteza paint, I feel like it is really meant to be used in larger swatches. So like the bigger dots, I feel like it's sort of honoring that paint more than just using small dots. When you put your dots down, it's so cool. Like after they dry, when you put the dots down, they look kind of dull, and then as it dries, it becomes very shiny and magical. I don't know, it's magical to me. I absolutely love this paint. And no, I'm not sponsored. It's kind of an internal joke now. I am kind of curious why Arteza didn't make those 4 colors that I mentioned earlier, the banana, the Arctic blue, the amethyst, and the ocean blue, why they didn't include those in the set. Because they're like the most beautiful colors. I love them so much. But you can't get them in the small tube, you have to buy the big ones, which is fine. Like the banana yellow I use a lot. See, here's the blurry part. I use the banana yellow. It's like my favorite color of yellow, and it's cool. Depending on the colors you use with it, it almost looks like this green color, but then like other colors, it has this like white yellowy color. It's magical. That's all I can say is magical. Okay, so this part, speaking of banana yellow, I put the banana yellow here, and I'm really sorry it's blurry. You can still see what's happening though, but the banana yellow totally ruined the canvas here. After it dried, I kept staring at it and staring at it. I was mad at it, and it was not treating me right. Like, that was really a bad decision. So as you're painting, use the gold instead. But I will show later on, I'm going to come back and I'm going to correct it. And if you do something like that, it's okay to make adjustments to it. If you're doing a painting, sometimes like the energy of the color is just totally throwing everything off. Go ahead and top dot over it. You don't have to scrape it off. If it's dry, just put a thin layer of paint on top of it and it'll be great. Like, I don't think you can even tell that I originally had painted that a banana yellow. But I think what happened here is I didn't have any big like pieces of that banana yellow, like in the 3 dots here. You can see it now. There's none of that in the rest of the canvas, and so all of a sudden your eye is just instantly drawn to that part, and it doesn't really want to look anywhere else because it doesn't go with anything else, if that makes sense. Like, all the banana yellow that I use in this canvas, it's kind of like the sparkle that's added to the canvas, like the accessories with all the little dots. And then when you use it as like a main character, it sort of throws everything off. So that was kind of my thought process behind that. And it's okay to change your mind. So here I am redotting over that with the gold. Even though they're kind of on the same, they're kind of very similar in color, it takes it down a notch enough where it recedes a little and it doesn't compete with the rest of the canvas. And of course, when I get to the edge, I love adding these little swoops at the end. It kind of gives it sort of like it's glowing. I don't know how you describe it. Anyway, I think that's all the explanation that I really have. I think we got through all the rough parts of the video and all the changes that I had made. This is going to be like a color challenge for the kind of the holiday season, so if you want to join in that and see what everybody else is doing, you don't have to do this design pattern, or you can do this design pattern in different colors. It's totally up to you. But I want to invite you to join our Facebook group. I'll link that in the description. And also you can follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, all the other places too. So, and I'll link all that. Everything will be in the description. So I hope you enjoy the rest of it, and thanks for watching.